The storm outside had been growling for hours, but nothing was louder than the pounding in Aaron Cole's chest when he looked down at his phone. His heart froze, his breath vanished, and every part of him went weightless as he realized the message he just sent. A message meant for his best friend had gone straight to the last person on earth he would ever text that way. Victoria Hale, the famously cold and impossibly elegant CEO he worked for. And worse than the wrong recipient was the message itself. It wasn't a normal text. It was flirty, bold, stupidly bold. A confession wrapped in midnight loneliness sent by a single dad who should have known better. If she ever gave me one chance, even one smile, I swear I'd fall for her in a heartbeat. And now it sat in her inbox. Delivered. Read. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps more beautiful stories reach wonderful people like you. Aaron stood in the cramped living room of his small apartment in Denver, Colorado, frozen like a man awaiting a meteor impact. His 6-year-old daughter, Harper, slept on the couch behind him, clutching the stuffed rabbit she never went to bed without. But even the soft rise and fall of her tiny breaths couldn't calm the chaos wrapping around his mind. Victoria Hale wasn't just his boss. She was the woman whose reputation made grown executives tremble, the woman who walked into rooms as if she owned the air inside them, the woman whose silver-gray eyes could slice a person in half without a word. She was brilliant, respected, and so impossibly distant that no one dared stand too close. And he was a warehouse-level logistics manager who patched his life together one paycheck at a time, trying to be enough for the little girl who thought he hung the moon. He cursed under his breath, pacing, raking a hand through his hair as the storm battered the windows. His phone buzzed. For a moment he considered not looking, not breathing, not existing. But he did, and what he saw made his chest cave inward. Victoria Hale is typing. Then the typing bubble vanished, appeared again, vanished, and then nothing. Minutes dragged like hours. By the time the clock hit 11:59 p.m., Aaron had spiraled through every disaster scenario imaginable. Getting fired, getting humiliated, becoming gossip in the company group chat, losing the job that paid for Harper's daycare, the one thing he couldn't lose. Then, at exactly midnight, someone knocked on his door. A sharp, crisp, unmistakable knock. 3 short, precise taps. He froze. His breath caught. None of his neighbors knocked that way. No one he knew carried authority in their knuckles. Another knock, and then her voice, quiet, calm, impossibly out of place in his shabby hallway. "Aaron, it's me, Victoria Hale." Standing at his door at midnight. He opened it slowly, half dreading, half shaking. She stood there soaked from the rain, an umbrella hanging uselessly at her side, her black coat clinging to her frame. Her usually flawless hair was damp, slightly curled at the ends, and her eyes, those sharp, commanding eyes, were softer than he had ever seen them. She stepped inside before he could convince himself this was a dream. What followed wasn't anger or mockery, or a single cold word he expected. Instead, she told him she had been in her penthouse reading through late-night reports when his text arrived. She admitted it startled her. Nobody dared speak about her the way he had, not with admiration free of the usual fear or agenda. It confused her. It made her feel something she didn't have a name for. As Aaron listened, he felt the world shifting under his feet. Victoria Hale, the woman built from ice and steel, wasn't here to destroy him. She was here because she couldn't ignore the truth threaded between the lines of his accidental confession. But she wasn't like him. She wasn't used to warmth, or softness, or sincerity that wasn't transactional. She walked around his living room, taking in the chaos of toys on the floor, the worn family photos, the blanket fort like Harper had been building a castle. Something gentle passed over her face, an expression he had never imagined she possessed. It was as if she was seeing a world she had never had permission to enter. And in that small, dim apartment, something inside her cracked. She told him she had grown up alone, that feelings were a language she was never taught, that the more success she gained, the more people expected her to be perfect and untouchable. Kindness wasn't expected from her. Vulnerability wasn't allowed. But the text he sent made her feel human again. It frightened her. It intrigued her. It pulled her here into the messy warmth of a single father's living room where she didn't have to wear her armor. Aaron felt something inside himself shift too. He had always admired her from a distance, not for her beauty or power, but for the loneliness he sensed in her eyes, the kind he understood too well. Harper stirred on the couch then, blinking awake. When she saw the tall woman in the room, she sat up sleepily. Victoria froze, unsure what to do. Children weren't part of her world. But Harper simply rubbed her eyes, grabbed her stuffed rabbit, and walked right up to her. "You look sad," Harper said softly. Victoria blinked, startled. No one talked to her that way. Then Harper held out her rabbit. "You can borrow him. He makes me feel better." Aaron felt tears sting his eyes, because that was who his daughter was, a small, open heart, offering comfort to someone who had never known it. Victoria knelt slowly, touched the soft toy with trembling fingers, and whispered that she didn't deserve such kindness. Harper only shrugged and said everyone deserved it sometimes. That moment changed something in Victoria. She stayed longer than she meant to, sat on Aaron's couch, sipped the tea he made, confessed things she had never told anyone. And Aaron listened, not as her employee, not as a man intimidated by her, but as someone who understood brokenness and the quiet courage it took to keep going. As the storm raged outside, she opened up about the pressure, the loneliness, the expectations crushing her. She admitted she hadn't dated in years because she didn't trust anyone to see her as a person rather than an asset. Aaron told her she deserved more than a life made of boardrooms and silence. He told her the text he sent was embarrassing, yes, but honest, because sometimes truth slips out when we're tired of pretending. The night stretched into an unspoken understanding. Victoria hadn't come for answers. She had come because she needed a moment of realness, a place where she could breathe without judgment, and she found it in a small apartment with peeling paint and a sleeping child. She left just before dawn, pausing at the doorway. She looked at him with a softness he had never seen, an unguarded moment that felt like stepping into sunlight for the first time. Then she said something he hadn't expected. "I don't want this night to be a mistake or a secret. Let me try. Let me learn what this is." Her voice trembled, just enough to reveal she meant every word. In the days that followed, something gentle bloomed between them. She invited him to lunch meetings disguised as discussing logistics improvements. He invited her to Harper's school fair, where she shyly won a goldfish and had no idea how to hold it. She started smiling more, laughing quietly, allowing herself to exist beyond her CEO mask. And he found himself falling, not for the CEO everyone feared, but the woman no one else had taken the time to understand. The woman who borrowed a child's stuffed rabbit because she didn't know how to comfort herself. The woman who knocked on a single dad's door at midnight because she wanted to feel something real. Months later, at a small park on the outskirts of Denver, Victoria held Harper's hand as they fed ducks. Aaron stood beside them, watching a life form that he had never dared dream of. A life stitched together not by perfection, but by vulnerability, second chances, and late-night confessions that weren't meant to be heard. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It encourages us to keep bringing you stories filled with hope, struggle, and unexpected beauty. Before we end, please comment below. Do you believe that even the coldest hearts can be warmed by kindness and honesty?